General Hospital Spoilers tease that Port Charles has never been short on dark schemes, but this time, Sonny Corinthos' apartment fire has spiraled everything into an uncontrollable vortex. One of the biggest secrets has finally been revealed. Valentine Cassadine is the one who caused it all. But what is his true motive? Is this simply an attack, or the result of a dangerous obsession taking control of him? Valentine has always been a calculated, careful person, a smart strategist who never takes action without a reason. But this time, things have gone too far. As the clues begin to piece together, the truth emerges terrifyingly. Valentine wasn't just involved in the fire, he planned it, meticulously arranged every detail, and took direct action. But what drove him to do this? Those who knew Valentine might not believe he could go this far. But there's one thing no one realizes: a dangerous obsession has begun to control him. What used to be cold, calculated strategies have been replaced with uncontrollable rage, a burning desire to scorch everything in his path. Valentine is no longer the puppet master pulling strings in the shadows, he's stepped into the light, ready to destroy in the literal sense. But what makes this even more terrifying is that he feels no remorse. At first, the fire seemed like a random attack or an act of revenge from one of Sonny's old enemies. But when investigators thoroughly examined the scene, they found something was off. This wasn't an accidental explosion, it was carefully planned. As the clues started leading to Valentine, the truth gradually came to light. But why would he do this? Is this part of a larger plan to bring Sonny down? Or is this a move to send a stronger message? The fire didn't just destroy Sonny's apartment, it nearly took the life of Michael Corinthos, who was living in the apartment at the time. Michael suffered severe burns and had to be transferred to a medical facility in Germany for treatment. But what makes this situation crazier is how Valentine responded. He didn't run away, didn't panic when seeing the aftermath of his actions. Instead, he stood back, calmly watching everything burn, as if he were truly in control of the entire game. But is he really in control? When Sonny began searching for the person behind the incident, it didn't take long for him to trace it back to Valentine. Even though Valentine tried to cover his tracks, small pieces of evidence, a security camera recording, a trace in the fire alarm system, and most importantly, an anonymous tip, pointed in one direction: Valentine was the one who caused the fire. Sonny has faced many enemies in his life, but he's never been so insulted. Valentine didn't just dare to target him, he dared to target his family. For Sonny, this wasn't just an act of hostility. This was a declaration of war. He didn't hesitate, didn't think twice, he wanted Valentine to pay. And this time, there would be no chance for escape. While Sonny is ready to retaliate, there's a big question: is Valentine really in control, or is he slowly getting pulled into a spiraling vortex he can't stop? Valentine used to be a planner, someone who always thought things through before acting. But this fire wasn't the action of a careful planner, it was the act of a man slowly losing control of himself. What drove him to go this far? Was it hatred for Sonny? Revenge for past losses? Or is there an even bigger plan that no one can foresee? One thing is certain: Valentine is no longer himself. He's become a danger in ways even his enemies never expected. A man not only willing to destroy his enemies but capable of destroying himself in the process. But will Sonny allow Valentine to continue down this path? The answer is no. Sonny has never let anyone get away with hurting his family without consequences. Valentine has awakened a monster in Sonny, and this time, there will be no path to forgiveness. Sonny is not someone easily toppled, and now, he's planning a stronger counterattack than ever before. Valentine might think he's in control of the situation, but what he doesn't know is that Sonny is ready to end this game once and for all. Port Charles is about to witness a showdown with no room for mercy. Sonny doesn't just want to take Valentine down, he wants Valentine to suffer for what he's done to Michael. And this time, there may be no way back for Valentine Cassadine. A real storm is coming, and when it's over, no one knows if Valentine will be able to rise again. Valentine is slowly becoming an uncontrollable danger in Port Charles, a man who no longer follows any boundaries and is willing to do anything to achieve his goals. No longer just a quiet power player, Valentine has stepped out of the shadows and is ready to destroy anyone who dares to get in his way. What he has done not only affects Brennan and Sonny but also drags Carly, Jason, and Anna into a dangerous spiral. The obsession with control, hatred, and rage has turned Valentine into a man that no one can predict. Brennan always thought he was the top dog in every political and criminal game, but now he realizes that Valentine is the real threat. He once had the upper hand, thinking he could manipulate everything, but now Valentine has proven he's not just an adversary, he's a real threat. Brennan is no longer setting traps, he's being hunted. Valentine doesn't need a long-term plan or underhanded tricks, he just needs one simple act to show Brennan that he no longer controls the situation. After the apartment fire, Sonny realizes that Valentine has become a bigger issue than ever before. He used to think Valentine was an enemy who could be negotiated with, but now, that's no longer the case. Valentine isn't just acting without rules, he's willing to hurt those around Sonny to send a clear message. Sonny has seen many battles in his life, but this time, he feels like he's up against an uncontrollable force, a man who no longer cares about the consequences of his actions. Carly, who always has the ability to navigate dangerous schemes, is also feeling the pressure as Valentine becomes more unpredictable. She knows a man like Valentine doesn't act without a reason, but this time, he seems to be driven by a deep rage, an obsession that's clouding his judgment. Carly isn't just worried for herself, she's worried about everyone around her, especially Sonny and Jason. She understands that Valentine isn't a problem they can easily handle, he's a danger that could change the entire balance of Port Charles. Jason, who always knows how to deal with dangerous enemies, also feels the difficulty in facing Valentine this time. He's fought many enemies in the past, but he's never seen Valentine as dangerous as he is now. Before, even as an adversary, Jason always knew Valentine had limits, something that kept him from becoming an uncontrollable killer. But now, those limits are gone. Jason can't predict Valentine's next move, and that's what makes this situation incredibly dangerous. Anna, who once had a complicated relationship with Valentine, realizes she can no longer protect him. She once believed he still had some humanity left, something that could be pulled back from the brink. But after witnessing Valentine's increasingly violent and unpredictable actions, she understands she was wrong. He's not just acting ruthlessly, he's targeting anyone who could stand in his way. She knows that without someone stopping him, Valentine could plunge Port Charles into an uncontrollable spiral. Everything is becoming a real nightmare as Valentine continues to unleash unpredictable attacks. No one knows who his next victim will be, and that has the entire town on edge. Carly, Jason, Anna, Brennan, Sonny, everyone knows that this fight is no longer just about power. It's a life-and-death battle, and Valentine is willing to do anything to win. No one can predict what he'll do next, but one thing is certain, this obsession is just beginning, and Port Charles will never be the same again. If no one stops Valentine, not just his enemies but everyone in this town will feel the consequences. Valentine has crossed a line that no one can pull him back from. His actions are no longer just about revenge or protecting what he loves, they're becoming an unstoppable force of destruction. And when a man has nothing left to lose, he becomes the most dangerous of all. Port Charles is on the brink of a great storm, and Valentine is the epicenter of this chaos. Charlotte is slowly stepping into a more dangerous world than ever before, no longer an innocent teenager caught up in Valentine's schemes, but now actively participating in the game. What's most terrifying is not that she's being manipulated, but that she is choosing this path for herself. The relationships around her are slowly changing, and her new interactions are no longer merely about curiosity or the desire for exploration, but are part of a larger plan, one that Valentine has been secretly nurturing for a long time, and now Charlotte is playing a significant role in it. At first, Charlotte's actions seemed harmless. She approached those connected to Valentine, gathering information unnoticed and using her innocence to divert those trying to sabotage her father's plans. But step by step, what she does becomes bolder and more dangerous. No one expected a teenager to dive so deeply into such a high-stakes power struggle. Charlotte is no longer just a pawn, she's becoming a key player, and that is pulling Port Charles into a storm no one can control. Things started to shift and Charlotte no longer merely supported Valentine from the sidelines but began directly participating in strategic attacks. She wasn't just providing information anymore. She was playing a key role in executing Valentine's dangerous plans. Despite being a teenager, Charlotte has proven she can play an important role in the battle between her father and his enemies. Her absolute loyalty to Valentine is frightening to many, especially Anna, who once knew a very different Valentine, a man willing to do anything to protect his daughter from criminal plots. But now, Valentine is the one who has led Charlotte down this path. Anna can't stand by and let this happen. She understands that if no one stops Charlotte, she will sink deeper into darkness, and at some point, there will be no turning back. Laura also notices the disturbing changes in Charlotte. She remembers the child who once longed for a normal life, someone who wanted to be protected from the power games. But now, Charlotte is no longer like that. She has changed, and this change may be irreversible. Laura wants to save Charlotte, but she knows it's not easy, because this time, Charlotte doesn't think she needs saving. Carly, Jason, and Sonny quickly realize that Charlotte is no longer just a child to be ignored in this war. She has become a real threat. Valentine may be the mastermind behind all the schemes, but Charlotte is the one carrying them out. Her actions are no longer merely rebellion or seeking validation from her father, they're part of an intentional plan, one that could alter the entire course of the war in Port Charles. Charlotte's actions grow even more dangerous as she begins to take matters into her own hands, targeting those she sees as threats to her father. A shocking event occurs when an important figure in this battle is attacked in an unexpected way. The evidence at the scene suggests the attacker isn't a professional hitman, but a young person, someone who could approach the victim without raising suspicion. That someone is Charlotte. The story is no longer about Valentine manipulating his daughter, it's about Charlotte choosing this path for herself. She's no longer a puppet in her father's hands but a true player, capable of making her own decisions and acting with a ruthless instinct no one could have imagined before. This forces everyone in town to reassess how they see Charlotte. No one can see her as a victim or an innocent child anymore. She is becoming a new force in this battle, and no one knows what she'll do next. Everything is heating up in ways no one could have foreseen. Charlotte is no longer just a part of Valentine's plan, she is becoming an uncontrollable force. The question now isn't just who will stop Valentine, but who can stop Charlotte before it's too late. Port Charles has never faced a situation like this. A teenager is stepping into a life of crime, not because she's being forced, but because she truly believes she's doing the right thing. And that makes her more dangerous than anyone else. If no one intervenes in time, Charlotte may become even more dangerous than Valentine, a person with no boundaries, willing to do anything to protect her father. The storm is coming, and this time, it's not just a battle between powerful men. A new force is rising, and Charlotte might just be the real threat no one saw coming. Michael will soon return to Port Charles, bringing with him an unavoidable storm. After receiving treatment in Germany, he returns with a single goal, to bring down Valentine. Michael has lost too much in the apartment fire, and this time, he is no longer a bystander. He doesn't just want to expose Valentine's crimes, he wants to ensure Valentine will never again have the chance to cause harm. But what Michael doesn't anticipate is that Valentine has changed. No longer just someone pulling the strings from behind the scenes, Valentine is now fully immersed in a battle with no escape. He is fighting not only to protect himself but also consumed by an obsession to destroy anyone who dares stand against him. And this time, Michael is directly in his line of fire. The moment Michael returns to Port Charles, a new madness begins to rise. The tensions that have been building for so long finally erupt, and no one can stay on the sidelines. Carly, Sonny, Jason, and Anna all realize that a real war is underway, and no one can control it anymore. Michael doesn't just want to face Valentine, he wants to annihilate him, and this takes everything to an irreversible level. Valentine, with his usual sharpness, immediately recognizes that Michael is not an easy adversary. But instead of backing down, he becomes even more dangerous. He no longer cares about threats or moral boundaries, he just wants to make sure he's the last one standing. This raises a terrifying question: is Michael truly ready to face a man like Valentine, who has no limits anymore? The confrontation between them quickly escalates when Michael begins gathering evidence against Valentine. But that also leads him into a dangerous trap. Valentine is not an easy target, and once he realizes Michael is investigating him, he wastes no time in making the first strike. One night, as Michael leaves a secret meeting with Jason, he is unaware that Valentine has been following him. Just minutes later, a massive explosion shakes the area near the docks. Michael is thrown to the ground, blood pouring from serious wounds. There is no one around to help him immediately, and every second counts. When the news of the explosion spreads, Port Charles is thrown into chaos. Carly screams when she hears the news, Sonny clenches his fists, and Jason immediately rushes to investigate. But the worst news comes when the doctor announces that Michael didn't survive. Michael's death officially confirms how far Valentine has fallen into madness. No longer just scheming or manipulating, this time, Valentine has actually killed someone. No one can believe Valentine has gone this far, but it also means no one is willing to tolerate him anymore. Sonny, who once wanted to find a strategic solution, has lost his composure. He wants Valentine dead. Carly, in her grief, swears she will never let this go. Jason knows that he can't let Valentine cause any more harm. But the scariest part is that Valentine has no intention of stopping. He knows he has gone too far, and instead of trying to find a way out, he is sinking deeper into darkness. Port Charles is on the brink of a war like no other, and this time, no one will escape the consequences. Valentine's crimes will be stopped, but the price may be far more terrifying than Michael's death.